Hello everybody, Charlie's Cards here. Tonight I bring to the table the Man of Steel. As I have started collecting again, I've also started YouTubing, and I've also had a desire to get to know some of my favorite players all over again. And one of them, and quite a few of them, have obviously been Oakland A's. Another one is Reggie Jackson, and another one is an Atlanta Brave by the name of Hank Aaron. Some guys call him Henry. This is Rickey, and if you ever spelt his name, it's Rickey Henderson. He was born December 25th, Christmas baby, 1958, in Chicago, Illinois. He was drafted in 1976 in the 4th round, pick number 96. Tom Brady of baseball, and went on to be one of the most dominant players and the most passionate players I think I've ever experienced. With me being, an Oakland A's fan, or a Bay Area baseball, or some of the greats that I've looked into. This guy was a rock. Literally competed with another rock by the name of Rock Reigns. But, he played from 1979, a partial season with the A's, and he got out of Major League Baseball in 2003 and went on to play independent baseball after 26 seasons in Major League Baseball. Went on to play independent baseball because he loved it so much. He was with the A's from 79 to 84, and then he went to the Yankees. And his last Major League Baseball team was the LA Dodgers. He ended up with 1,406 stolen bases. And so I'm going to be sharing some of my cards as we move through this little resume of greatness. I am very proud of this PSA 8 that I bought. A little off center. And now it's just blown up. I gagged a little bit when I paid what I paid for it early last year. And I'm glad I bought it early last year because now it's rather pricey. Well into the almost $200 range. I'm like, wow. Oh, went to a baseball card store, and this was laying in a display case down at the bottom, looking pretty lonely. Yeah, it's beat up. But have you ever seen a baseball card that you really like, and you've seen it laying in the baseball card store at the bottom of the rack, looking all lonely, like, I need to give that card a home because that card means a lot to me? Well, this is one of those. I don't remember what I paid for it, but it is beat up. Got a little paper loss on the front. Like it had a little gum. A couple of the corners are jacked, but you know what? It needed a home, and I was that guy. 1980. So I've got 2 of them. Sure wish I would have gotten more back then. Since I've been opening some 80s, hoping to find one, and most of these that I got in this stack here, I did pull out of packs. So back to stats: 1,406 stolen bases. 335 times he was caught, and he almost had 300 home runs. 297. He led his team in batting average quite a few times. The guy was a beast. So I've got a couple of these 91 Don Rosses. And this is a 81 Fleer. And in 1981, Topps came out with a category that I think was pretty important to Rickey Henderson. They started including on their cards stolen bases. They included strikeouts. See that on the end? They included slugging percentage. And they included walks. Topps did. This is not a Topps. This is a Topps. That's a Rickey Henderson most stolen bases AL. 100 stolen bases. When you saw this happening, you knew as a pitcher and as a catcher, you were in trouble. It's a good picture of it too. And I began to watch some videos and read a lot of stuff on Rickey Henderson, and the amount of physical abuse his body took from stealing bases was incredible. If you go back and watch some of the stolen bases, especially to second base. I mean, second base, he got beat up several times, kicked in the face, you know. I mean, think about it. You're sliding, so he's leading off, and he does just this little juke move, shakes his hiney a little bit, kicks his shoes up, plants them, gets ready to go, and goes one way or the other. So it's amazing to see him work. And he attributes that to his minor league coach, Tom Tremblehorn. And Tom Tremblehorn worked with Rickey back in the minors, where he stole 205 bases in 3 years in the minor leagues, which basically told everybody, hey. In '77, he set a single game record in the California League with 7 stolen bases in one game. Here's him and Tim, 1981. Tim had 71 and Rickey had 56. Rickey was banged up in 82, 81, 82. Banged up. Again, the amount of physical abuse he took stealing bases, because that ball came from the catcher to second base, and that second baseman was usually on the first base side of the bag, and he was usually sliding through these guys or around these guys. I mean, he just took it head on. And he talks about, that he had to be in tip-top shape. And if you ever saw his legs, you knew that the guy could run. He was a 1,000-yard rusher in high school. He played football and baseball, and he was a 1,000-yard rusher twice in high school. There's another takeoff move, getting ready to hit her a lick. He said that if his uniform wasn't dirty, he didn't do his job. So you know how he slid. He did the old Charlie Hustle move where he'd get up off the ground and take it in hands and head first. He didn't have any padding on. He didn't have the oven mitt on like they wear nowadays. He was an intense player. So, back in 1980, Rickey broke Ty Cobb's stolen base record. Ty Cobb had a single season stolen base record of 96, and Rickey broke that with 100. But here's one Ty Cobb record he couldn't break, and that's Ty Cobb stole home 54 times. Rickey Henderson only stole home 4 times. So here's another year, back-to-back years, that couple years that he led the team in batting. Classic 84 card, getting ready. Look at the legs on the man. He was a beast. He was very passionate about playing baseball, though. That's one thing I know. In 85, he went to the Yankees, and this is his is an 88 card, a Topps 88. So he had been with the Yankees for several years. Look at the italics for stolen bases. The italics for runs. 146 runs. That's crazy. Crazy. Guy was very passionate about baseball. Obviously, baseball provided his life. But you could tell the guy was driven. Just to think what he went through physically to steal 130 bases in 1982. I imagine that'll be a record that will never be broken because baseball now is what kind of game? Where back in the day it was a single base baseball game. I mean, that's why Rickey Henderson was so good as a leadoff batter. So there's his 89 Rickey Henderson Yankee, and there's his 89 Henderson update Rickey Henderson going back to the A's. So back in the day with Rickey Henderson, you played single base ball. And even though they had the Bash Brothers, obviously the Bash Brothers were in line to hit a lot of home runs, and that's why they were so good when he came back in 1989 and went on to win the World Series, his only World Series title, I think. Actually, I'm not sure, but I know he did win it in 1989. Maybe he won it a couple times, but this is the one award that he only won one time, and that was MVP. In 1990, Rickey Henderson won the MVP. So to think about some of the other stats that Rickey did in 26 seasons, MVP award. 3,081 games, 10,961 at-bats, 2,295 runs. I mean, that for a fourth round 96 pick. Charlie Finley, probably wasn't Charlie Finley then, I'm sorry. But the A's got their money's worth. He's headed back to first base there in that move. So he also sets the record for, or shares the record of stealing 100 more bases 3 times. So, but when you think of the 1406 stolen bases, he had that leg kick. He left the leg and the foot out, and then he would drop it down. He bent over the plate quite a bit, and he was also struck by balls quite a bit. This particular card doesn't have it. but he was struck several times. I just found this one, pretty cool set. This is a Studio. $1993 Studio. Really cool card. He, everybody talked about when he broke the record. He did it with his shades on. He liked wearing his sunglasses. He believed it caused mayhem. But that's the one thing he enjoyed doing on the field, was causing mayhem to the pitchers. You can go back and watch some of the videos of him when he passed Lou Brock, when he passed Ty Cobb, and then that was 9:37, and then when he tied Lou Brock, and then he passed Lou Brock at 9:39. They have quite a few videos on YouTube of that, and you can look back and see the havoc that it caused the pitchers back then. Because, I mean, Rickey, when he got on the base path, there was not much you can do. And, I mean, you literally had to have the best catcher with the best arm behind that plate, because there's nothing the pitcher could do. And there were a few that, had pretty good pickoff moves. This is pretty cool. This is Rickey Henderson triple take. I don't know what set this is out of. 2013. But it's numbered 8 out of 50. Rickey Henderson. So when you look back at that 1406, I mean, to think that that is 50% higher than Lou or anyone else, that's just amazing. And so he went into the Hall of Fame, and recently I was able to go visit the Hall of Fame, and they're the one of the guys I saw with his plaque that I was really excited to see. And since then, I've been able to watch his Hall of Fame induction. You could tell that baseball was his passion. It was not much about public speaking. So he did read a lot of it, but that's okay. That's where Rickey was. He wanted to make sure he got his point across. So this is a Topps Mini. Pretty cool. And then my last Rickey card from 2018 archives. So they retired his number in the Oakland Coliseum on August 1st, 2009. His wife and his 2 daughters were able to pull the tarp from the center field wall where they retired his number. And they had a big ceremony that day, and that was a pretty special day. And so Rickey Henderson, the man of steel, amazing guy. So as I've seen this shoot up lately, we can all understand how important Rickey Henderson was to the game back then. I mean, I don't know who the base stealer is nowadays, but obviously we really don't focus on stealing bases anymore. It may happen once in a while here and there, but unfortunately it's a long ball era now, and everybody's after the home run. Where if you saw Rickey play back in the day, the havoc that he created a lot more havoc on the field to multiple different players than just by hitting a home run. And I think the amount of skill that Rickey demonstrated in his career, and the longevity and the tenacity, and how much he got beat up, even had a leg injury that he wasn't sure he was going to heal from. Fortunately, he didn't, and went on to become a Hall of Famer. And I'm a proud recipient of Rickey Henderson being an Oakland A's. And so as I was looking at this, I was looking at the PSA website, and there are now 24 PSA 10s, and there are 9,546 PSA 8s. So this is you could say this is a numbered card. And I don't know. It's crazy to think this, there's a lot of these out there, and a lot of them are graded. So anyway, I just wanted to share one of my favorites, one of the all-time greats, one of the guys who brought the game to his skill level and demonstrated his skill level and created havoc for those around him on the ball field. The allies of Rickey were excited to be on his side of the ball field. So this is Charlie's Cards. I hope you enjoyed my little shout out to one of my favorites, Rickey, Rickey Henderson. Give me a like. Tell me what you thought of Rickey, and give me a subscription if you're in the community and you have a baseball card channel. If you have a channel, period, sub to my channel, and I will see it. I get an alert, and I will sub you back. So that's how a community should work, hand in hand. So thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Charlie's Cards, over and out.